Next, we're going to welcome in a legendary former Texas high school football coach, multi-time state champion, took his game from there to Baylor, and now is the head coach of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Welcome, Coach Joey McGuire.
Man, thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
Coach, we excited to get you, man. You and I've been talking back and forth the last couple of weeks on social media, and we were very excited to have you on the show today. We're going to get you right into this.
Okay.
Now, Coach, you helped build a winning program at Baylor following a stellar 14-year run at Cedar Hill High School in the Fort Worth area. You've been honored as a Texas High School Football Hall of Fame member. What has been the formula for you building a winning program?
Well, some people will talk about X's and O's, and some people will talk about different programs, man. I think my number one thing is I absolutely love my players unconditionally. Everything that we do is built on that. Some people think that's a soft word. I think it's the strongest word in the English language because there's all kinds of forms of love. And man, I tell my guys all the time, they're stuck with me for the rest of their life, and I truly care about them. And I'm trying to make them the men that they're going to become, and the husbands and the dads that they're going to become. And I'm trying to help them, get everything they can get as far as their dreams and their goals.
Now, Coach, you made the unconventional jump from big-time high school coaching to joining Coach Matt Rule at Baylor. At what point did you decide that you wanted to go into coaching college football?
I had the opportunity from 2006 to 2016, but two things came in the way. One's Reagan McGuire and one's Garrett McGuire. My two kids. I wanted to coach both of them. I coached my daughter in powerlifting. She was placed at the state powerlifting meet all 4 years she was in high school, and then I got to coach my son in football, and that was really important to me. I think one of the, if not the most important titles you have is being a dad. I take that real serious, and my kids were my world, and so I kind of put some of the things on hold whenever it comes to some of my goals, just to make sure that I was there for them, and so that was why I waited till 2016. I had to interview the very next week. We got beat in the fourth round of the playoffs by DeSoto, and I was interviewing for a job with Matt Rule that very next week.
Coach, Texas Tech, you've done an outstanding job recruiting, evaluating, retaining talent locally. Since 2023, you've been a top 25 program. You currently sit at number 3 in the Big 12 Conference in the class of 25. All of your 14 2025 commits so far are from Texas, but one. How have you went about securing homegrown talent?
I think, one thing I have an advantage, man. I know all these high school coaches. I always tell them, man, I'm a high school coach that gets to coach college football. My DNA is in Texas high school football. And so I think there's a trust factor whenever it comes to whenever I get on the phone with a coach, whether it's the head coach or the position coach, and I always tell them, man, I need your help. I need you to be able to tell these parents and the kids that if they do choose Texas Tech, that they know I'm going to take care of them. And so I think we have a very good name whenever it comes to how their players are going to get treated. I think it's 7. We have 7 coaches, support staff that were Texas high school coaches, and so I think we have a lot of guys. We've got a lot of connections, and just kind of works out that way. We've got some different guys we're recruiting right now from all over the nation, but primarily we really stick to our Texas roots.
Well, Coach, and you've been doing an awesome job on that. Now, Coach, being a former coach myself and a former general manager, I understand the importance of personnel. You're one of the first coaches to truly set up a front office model that looked like the NFL. Can you take us through the way that you set up your front office and how that's helped in recruiting and attaining that great talent?
Yeah, that's a great question. and it's unconventional. I think we're going to see that it's going to trend more that way, especially whenever we start talking about revenue sharing and, possibly treating that almost like the salary cap. But with me, I got to give Matt Rule a lot of credit, man. I'm probably not the head coach at Texas Tech if I didn't work for Matt Rule and watch the way he recruited and the certain things that were important to him. And I met a guy through Matt Rule named James Blanchard. He's my general manager. He was an NFL scout. We worked together with Coach Rule at Baylor. And there was so many times whenever I was a position coach, I would watch film, I'd write up all my evals, and I would say, hey, this kid should be an offer. Well, then that had to go to the coordinator. And maybe the coordinator was busy, so he didn't watch the film for another week, or maybe it was another few days. And all of a sudden, that kid's already got 2 or 3 offers. And Monday, I said we should have offered him, and now it's Friday. Well, then also maybe that defensive coordinator or offense coordinator disagreed with you. And I was like, well, then why am I watching film? If that defense coordinator disagrees with me, shouldn't he watch all the film? And so it just, to me, the process was slow. And then the other part that happens is because you're also coaching a team and you're trying to build a room and you're worrying about game planning, the film evals start getting pushed farther and farther back on kind of what's important during the season. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to take a group of people that we trusted, that we could identify, this is what a Red Raider looks like, and then let them do that all day long. And so basically, I have a personnel department that all they do is watch film. They're gathering information. They're looking for traits. And once they feel that this is a Red Raider, they're going to call the head coach, the high school head coach. They're going to tell them that we want to offer this young man. And then the coaches now get lists of who we're recruiting. So they watch the film, but they're not really watching the film to say, hey, we're going to offer this kid. The offer's already happened. They're watching the film just so they can talk to the player about, hey, I watched this game and this is what I saw. But my personnel department's the one that is really pushing of, hey, here's who we're recruiting. Once the coaches bought into that, it freed them up to coach a lot more and not spend so much time trying to get caught up on their evals. And I know, man, you've been through it, man. It is so frustrating because it takes forever. You might take 2 or 3 weeks to offer a kid that should have been an offer right off the bat, and you just wasted 3 weeks of building a relationship with him.
Coach, I want to follow up with that. I want to ask you this because you said something interesting there in terms of your coaches having to buy into that. How hard was it to get your position coaches and your coordinators to buy into them not handling the recruiting and the personnel guys and the front office guys more dealing with that?
It's tough, especially early, because if you think about it, traditionally, and it is what it is, man. It's just kind of the way the business has been run for such a long time. So many people are so territorial. So it's either the area coach that at one point, if y'all remember, not very long ago, everybody was worried about who the highest recruit ranking was, and different parts of the industry says this is the best recruiter in the nation and this is whatever. And so you had some guys that were very territorial whenever it came to their area. And then you had some guys that were very territorial whenever it comes to their position. And so we had to start out by saying, hey, it really doesn't matter where this kid's from or whose area it is or what position it is. We're trying to recruit the best players. So let's get all the egos out of the way when it comes to that. And then I had to get them to understand, man, like your job is to recruit and develop these guys and get them on campus. If we make a mistake, we've all made the mistake, and I'm not pointing my finger at you. And that's how it's been. Like in most places, if you miss on a guy and you're the one that was pushing the hardest, it's your fault and everybody's blaming you. And we're trying to get it to more where it's a group. It's a group think. We've got a bunch of individuals that have watched this. But I also tell these coaches, like, guys, all these guys do, whenever it's talking to Sean Kinney and Wes and Brian Nance and James Blanchard, all they do is watch film, and then all they do is gather information. So they're going to have more information about the kid. If we were going to go head to head on who we were going to recruit, and they're going to have more information probably than the position coach does, and they have more time to do it because that's all they do. That's all they do is evaluate, watch film, and gather information on these players.
Coach, what's the next step to make Texas Tech go into the conversation of winning the Big 12 and securing a spot in the college football playoffs?
Keep my quarterback healthy. I always tell all the boosters and the alumni, like, guys, I mean, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, there's no way I would have bet my paycheck that I would not have had to play. You think about this, the last 2 years, I've had to play 3 quarterbacks year 1 and 3 quarterbacks year 2. Not 1, not 2, but 3 in both years due to injury. And so I think one of the major keys for us this year is, keeping our quarterback healthy. And then we've got to be more productive on both sides of the ball, but we've got to be more explosive on the offensive side of the ball to have an opportunity to play in the Big 12 championship.